Thank you for holding. Your call is very important. The first available KIE representative will be with you shortly. This vote, effective January 1st, 1978, all clocks and industrial electromechanics operations will cease. Please contact your assigned account representative for account transfers or contract settlements. Thank you for holding. Your call is very important. The first available KIE representative will be with you shortly.
Mode. Effective January 1st, 1978. All parts and industrial electromechanics operations will cease. Please contact your assigned account representative for account transfers or contract settlements.
Thank you for holding. Your call is very important. The first available KIE representative will be with you shortly.
Hello, Internet people. How are you doing today? You doing good? God, I hope so. Thank you all for being patient and being on hold for an obscene amount of time. If it ain't one thing, it's three with me. And, I have a, stellar combination of some software and hardware issues that made it a little late to start. And you know what? Have you ever just, like, snapped in the middle of a task and just changed the route you want to go? We're not making tea now. We're making cocktails. That's where we are. Not even mad, just that kind of crack in your brain and you go, you know what? Fuck it. It's already wrecked. Let's do what we want. And that's what we're doing today. Because during the week, I don't get too terribly much time to myself, so a lot of stream things that I would like to do, or like to develop, I don't really get a chance to do it. But now, since running games is a little out of the question, using this time to build some of the stream up seems like a really good idea. So I got to dig up one of my old layouts and massage it a bit in OBS, and by layout I mean just a few sources I left floating around. But we can get come on, brain, catch up, brain. What's happening with the gaming side? Something break? I have had, I've just had some general stability. Okay, there is a long story. God, the cat clock's going crazy. I'm not fixing the cat clock. That thing can go bonkers. Okay. I rearranged my workspace. And in the process of doing that, actually, let's switch to the main scene here. There we go. So, in the process of redoing my workspace, I physically damaged my motherboard. So, I needed to replace it. But replacing it meant that I had to do an upgrade. Because I was budgeting for this year to do an upgrade. Unfortunately, I had to start it early. So, I did. And this is where the beginning of catastrophe happened. It's not earth-shattering, it's just irritating. Because I can still do what I need to do. But it's not at a service level that I'd be satisfied streaming with. So then, what it is since I was on older generations of hardware, I had to buy AM5 hardware, which meant I rebought the board, bought a new board, bought new CPU, bought new RAM, and the first snag is I'm running at half the memory I should. Which isn't the end of the world, I just need to change some of my habits. But a very deadly combination is formed, and you can actually see it here in the center. I should also have the display here. I am consistently at half a gigabyte. What Linux distro do you use, by the way? I'm gonna make the move from Windows 10 to Linux this year, since there's no way in hell I'm subjecting myself to Windows 11. This distribution is called Garuda. And Garuda is a branch of Arch. And so there's some, it's a personal preference. There's nothing specific as to why. There's tons of variants that work just fine. In my case, part of it is I really like Arch's design. I'm not crazy about some of their philosophy, and I find that a lot of branches tick my boxes more than Arch itself does. There are some that are more closer to Arch, like Endeavor, I think is what it's called. Endeavor? Is that what it was, or is that the old name for it? I have to look it up here. I think it's Endeavor. Oh yeah, it's Endeavor. And then there's other ones like Manjaro, which what they do is they follow Arch's design, but Arch's philosophy is fuck you, do it yourself. And so you're expected to basically build it from the ground up as you want, which is extremely useful. It's extremely beneficial if you know exactly what you want, because you can put in what you want. But they also have this idea that they're not going to do things for you. Everything you do, you're expected to do by hand. And so one of my grievances is they'll sometimes push an update that's a breaking change, and then they'll put a note telling you what to do to address it. And I don't like that. If they know you have to do it a certain way, my opinion is it should be a script that gets run as part of the install. But anyway, and then there's some history. But aside from that, that's the only one. That's the only reason I use what I do. If you're new to Linux and never used it before, there's a lot of nicer ones. Not that you asked me, Transcake, but I use Vanilla Arch and used to be a developer for Gentoo. I ran Ubuntu on my dad's desktop because I wanted that to be a fire and forget as possible. Like, Arch definitely has its advantages. But yeah, if you're new to it and you want to just get a feel for it, there are more beginner-friendly distributions. If you start feeling confident or you've used Unix likes, getting to something like an Arch or an Arch branch tends to, like, I find it's a little more advantageous. Right, so what are we doing today? Well, first thing we're doing is I'm out of memory again. Hello, hi, that's the first dev stream I've seen you do. What are you going to work on? I am going to plug away at Sammy. That's what I'm going to do. I did do an I did do a Rust stream quite some time ago. I didn't think it was that enjoyable. Sorry, I shouldn't say I had an okay time. I just didn't think it was that entertaining for people, because it was a guy who hasn't written code in earnest in like 15 years, trying to learn a language that has a lot of guardrails in it. And it was a lot of, I imagine people who knew Rust were probably screaming at their screen. All right. That should buy me some time. Yeah, install soft RAM. Double your RAM instantly. You know, it's funny, actually. This swap isn't on disk. This is soft RAM, doubling the RAM. This is I think they call it ZRAM. So instead of a swap space, you'll notice here about a gigabyte and change of my RAM isn't here, that's because that is my swap. So instead of writing to disk, it's compressing the contents very heavily and then putting it into like a dedicated portion of my actual RAM. So it allows me to run out of memory and choke a bit, but not deadlock the machine. Right, so Sammy. So let's talk about Sammy. I don't know how many people have seen this here before. Like, yeah, I should explore ZRAM at some point. That became hot after I built my machine. One of the reasons I chose Garuda is they have ZRAM pre-configured out of the box, and they have a lot of the file system snapshotting configured out of the box, so it saves me many hours of my time. But those are both extremely useful. Are you using Plasma? Yes, I'm using Plasma on X11. Bugs and all. You want to see my favorite bug? You want to see it? It's a party trick. I want to see. Head pat. That's my favorite capture bug with X11. I could just go up to someone and be like, hey, you? Stop. No. Actually, no, you're good. Alright. So here's what I was wanting to plug away at today, and I've taken some streaming cues from ProdsPod and L:Q for this, which is getting a whiteboard to both tell people what it is I'm doing, and also, yeah, Prod. Actually, I should give them a shout out because it was thanks to A-Sprite. Where do you see A-Sprite? I mean, I do have Libra Sprite. I did for a while pay for A-Sprite, but it was kind of a nuisance to install, and I don't use it enough to warrant it. So, actually, I should give them a shout out because it was thanks to them that A-Sprite is better than just paint, in my opinion. I agree. It's very handy when you need to just do a little bit of touch-ups. Okay, where was I with this? Right, so it's thanks to ProdSpot that I'm actually in this group Green Circle. They swung in quite some time, well, not quite some time ago, last week during a stream, and they sold me on this group Green Circle, and then they vouched for me with the guy who runs it, which is L:Q. Very nice fella. So, a big thanks and a shout out to him. He's they. I'm sorry, not he. They. They're a sweetheart. Right, so let's go over what we need to do today. So for a long time, I wanted to figure out a TTS solution. Oh, did I? I don't think the tablet driver loaded, excuse me. Booyah. Come on, you. Device disconnected. There it is. Guess it's just sitting in... Guess it's a userland driver. I didn't know that. Alright. So, what I have is this, this semi-automated, like software suite called SAMI. And what SAMI does is it connects to OBS using its WebSocket and a plugin here that they call Bridge. And it lets me access certain parts of OBS to do things like switch scenes, or I can alter sources, or I can call its own kind of sort of not really scripting language. So it also hooks up to a streaming service like Twitch. In this case, because I don't use much else, it listens to Twitch for certain events. So let's use Bell as an example. You're gonna see I have two copies in here. One is my old version of these from before I was an affiliate, and I rebuilt them here to use viewership metric units instead. Doing this all with the tablet pen, and it's a little annoying. So in this case, it's pretty simple. It's kind of a semi-graphical language. You still need to write your own. If you need to call something external, you can still do it from here and write your own code or scripts for that. But it is mainly like a click and drag interface with nesting. So if we do this, we can go. Oh, and what do you know? The video didn't work. Let me get that sorted. What the hell happened there? Did I accidentally hide it or disable it? Oh, that worked. Now how about now? Yep. There we go. It was fine. Anywho. So, I'm not using it to its fullest potential. There's others like, what's another streamer? Shindigs, who does a lot in SAMI. I'm not gonna go that far for a while, because one of my hang-ups, and something I had a breakthrough on yesterday, was this is compiled for Windows only. And one of the hang-ups is because it's Windows only, it's extremely difficult to call things that aren't Windows executables. The last time I ever had to do that, or knew that I had to do that, it wasn't really possible. But I learned earlier in the week that this functionality had been added. And yesterday, I tested it external to SAMI, and with some exceptions and some things that didn't quite match the documentation, I could do it. So like, here's an example. So let's do this. We're gonna open up a fresh terminal. And I can go wine console. So this is gonna load up a wine prefix, and it's gonna call up command prompt. Specifically, this isn't Microsoft's version of the command prompt. This is, I think this is the wine development team's own version. But you're gonna notice here, it's simulating Windows 10 in the wine prefix. I'm supposed to be able to seamlessly call with this. Let's use Kate, the text editor. I'm supposed to be able to seamlessly call a Linux executable from within the wine prefix with something like this. But we get this error, file not found. And we get in here, and we see these errors, and this goes on for a little while. Happens like 4 or 5 times. And then it'll come back and say it doesn't exist, despite the fact that it clearly does. But there is something I can do, which is this. I can't do tab complete in here. It's not able to do that. Let's check here. You're gonna find I'm very scramble-headed, and so is my computer. I do not organize things very well in here. Build. Home. OBS. In here. Let's make test.sh. We're gonna open this with. Now I'm gonna commit a mortal sin here today. I use VS Code. I find it's comfortable and convenient for me. I shouldn't, but I haven't found anything that I didn't get. I couldn't find anything else that I was more comfortable with. I could get used to others, but yeah. None hit me. Let's see, let's go. What was that? OBS. Let's go to that test script. I'll just make one for testing's sake here. Shebang, bin, bash. Now I have to be careful with this one because it's going to make an empty file called out. So if I go back here, in home, if I call this right now, I'm going to get an empty file called out. Oh, right. It's going to do that for a while because I made a mistake. I forgot to set the script as executable, so it's not going to let me do it. Yeah, come on. Just go. Just come on through it. Come on. It's fine. It's fine. There we go. Test. Properties. There. It's an executable now. We'll go on back. Do it again. Poof! And what do we see? An empty file called out. So, for some reason, I can't call Linux like binaries, but I can call Linux scripts. So now came the rabbit hole of, can I make a TTS redeem using viewership metric units in SAMI using only a script? And here's as far as I got. We got this here. There's a lot of crap in here that isn't actually relevant to execution. Some of this is debugging. But if we go here, this is a sentence. I can test with it. Wow. A real sentence. We can go save. Okay, so this is on. This command is on. This one's off, and this one is gonna play. Oh. I realized I need to make that an audio source or you can't hear it when I do the test. Let me do that right now. Oh god, this thing's struggling right now. Who's watching the memory right now? How bad is it? That's good. Lost a few gigs. As long long as that swap doesn't start to climb on me, that's gonna be okay. I have to routine. I'll probably have to like flush that cached area once in a while. Where is my application audio capture? That's what I need. What's causing the leak? Right now it looks like a web browser's doing it. I think a web browser's doing it. The other part is I'm technically supposed to have, okay, not technically. My previous machine, I had managed to build up to 128 gigs. And so my usage habits are assuming 128 gig. Which is a very crazy thing for me to say. But a few years of slowly, like, saving up to do it, I was able to pull it off. But now I'm running at 64 and it's full, and the leak and things that may have leaked that I didn't notice are rearing their heads now. Definitely first world problems, I must say. Is it Wine64 preloader? No, we're gonna go app name. GWE. Lorian. Ah, here we are. So I think it's a web browser, but I have to watch. Alright, so here's as far as I got. This should cough out what's up here.
This is test symptoms. Are you pissed with it?
No, so it's not working. It was working a moment ago. This is where I gotta figure out what's what. So where is my whiteboard? So let's go over the current workflow. Part of this is for your guys' understanding. Part of this is me trying to sort out my own thoughts. So we've got... I knew I got a used drawing tablet for a reason. Series of tubes. We've got... We got OBS. We've got, so from OBS, alright, so with OBS we then have Sammy. My writing is so bad, which is in itself, in Wine, I really don't like that it's pressure sensitive, because it just makes my handwriting even worse. So then Sammy is calling from, alright, so let's see. So most of what you see here when it comes to like the notifications, like the bell or like a raid message, that video information, those video clips with the sound, are being stored within OBS. Sammy's only job is it's telling OBS to go play them. It holds very little, if anything, inside itself. What it can do, though, is it can send instructions to other programs if you have plugins for them, or there's some kind of like a WebSocket for it. And if you're running Windows, you're supposed to be able to call local executables, and you're supposed to be able to call local executables, and you're supposed to be able to do rudimentary I/O, like create a file, write into the file, retrieve the file, and then they give you a rudimentary way of doing manipulation of data. So the question is, what means do I have? Oh yeah, and the OS is also touching OBS. So what means do I have with, oh yes, and then Sammy is also touching Twitch. What means does Sammy have to retrieve data from here? Or what means does it have to call an executable and then pick up the result and then play it? I originally thought that Sammy could send an audio clip to OBS, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. I think it's playing it, and that was what I was seeing here. I don't think OBS is playing that sound. I think Sammy is. So I should show you I should actually show you the script I wrote. It's not complicated, it's just messy, because I'm doing a lot of file manipulation to do it. So, oh god, that's chunky. All right. It's not very complicated. A lot of it is commented out because it was me experimenting. But what it's doing is it's generating a WAV file of a sentence. Then it's converting it to LPC10, which gives it two things. It sounds like it's coming through a telephone when you convert to LPC10, and it sounds like it's from a Speak and Spell because it's like one of the predecessors to the Speak and Spell. Then we convert it to OGG because Sammy seems to only be able to hear OGG. Then it's a little quiet, so we're boosting it again. Then we're cleaning up, and we're saving a copy. Since we were able to prove that we could call shell scripts from within Wine, but we couldn't call executables from within Wine, earlier, however, then that means so long as we can get Sammy to call a shell script, we should be able to cobble something together to retrieve somebody's chat message, feed it into here, do the generation, do the effects, clean up, and then give it back to play. Now, what's odd is that I was able to call it earlier before stream, but I can't call it now. So what's different? And I think I know what's different. I called Sammy from here because as for my convenience, I place Sammy as a program, a Steam-controlled program, which means it might be running under Proton, but during my tests, I might not have done that. So we are going to nuke Sammy and pray to God it connects to OBS again. And we're going to start it cold directly. Open with Wine. And we're going to see if it conks out. All connections came back just fine. That's good. Let's do a quick test. Yep, it sent a message in chat too, so that's good. Now let's try this test sentence. So it should say what I put in here. If not, then something else might have occurred.
This is the fifth symptoms. One, the real symptoms.
Okay. We're getting somewhere. So it's going to... Actually, I should explain my script a little bit more here because I missed a detail. So originally, you see here in one of the comments, the original way to call this script was to supply the sentence as an argument. But for reasons I didn't understand at the time, when I supplied it as an argument, the script wouldn't run. But I was getting no feedback as to why it wasn't running. So the new solution is Sammy writes into a text file called input.txt, then calls the script goes and picks it up, and then the rest of the work is the same. So let's see now if... No, I don't need that right now. Let's see if this behaves.
This is a test sentence. Sentence.
Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear that. Hopefully it's not blowing your eardrums out. Hopefully that's the case. I didn't check the volume. Because one thing I am doing as well is volume is fine. You can hear it. Good. Because the other thing is, you'll see in here, I am heavily abusing a product called SOX, which is a command line audio management, well, not audio management, audio manipulating program. So it allows you to make changes to audio programmatically. So that's what I'm doing here by converting to LPC10 and then converting back to OGG. And then this here is me boosting the volume by 3.5 times. So now that's an important note. Can I type in here? I don't think I can. That is an egregious oversight, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna have to keep a mental note then, because I cannot read my... Actually, you know what? I gotta learn to become more legible in my writing somehow. No proton environment. Line only. God, my writing is horrific. It's like... It's like an 8-year-old with a computer engineering technology diploma. It's amazing. This is why I type. No proton. Okay, so it's a wine environment only. If I call this in Proton, it's not... I think what's going on is it's not calling this command. So this is me here just doing the... like telling... come on, brain. This is me calling that shell script. Now, the shell script can call Linux executables. That part seems to be fine in a vanilla wine environment, not a Proton environment, which I still don't understand why. Then I'm pausing for 3 seconds so that it can do that processing, but I don't think it needs 3 seconds. Let's try 1 second.
This is a test sentence. What is a sentence?
Yep. There we go. That seems to be just fine. So we don't need this anymore. I can clean this out. This was me trying to troubleshoot from within the prefix. So I told it to just start a command prompt, and then I was able to screw around in the command prompt afterwards. Interestingly, in the documentation, these color codes do have a meaning. And I was told that these like pink and purple mean that they don't happen in line with this code from top to bottom. So in this case, this doesn't wait for the script to come back. What this one does is it just sends the command and then goes to the next step. Whatever this thing is processing in the background doesn't matter. It doesn't care. And it has no way to know. Now, this didn't give a return. This didn't return anything. Or am I getting that one mixed up with this? Either way. Actually, let's try something else. Ooh.
This is a pist symptoms. What is symptoms?
Okay. So, it did not get... I think I didn't wait long enough. I bet you if I go into that area where... Actually, I should explain this code a bit more before I go further, because it's not very clear in here. So these are off. Actually, I should turn this back on. This one's off and this one's off because they're not really needed. It's just a different way of calling programs. We're calling the script here. We're writing the sentence into a text file. Then we're calling this script which in turn reads this file, does the synthesis, then we do all of our audio manipulation work, and then clean up the 3 files we don't need. That cocktail's hitting really hard, really fast. I'm starting to get confident now. We're gonna hit the Balmer Peak tonight, gentlemen. Then, what it's doing is it's loading the audio file from an OGG file called out.ogg under Scratch. So that would be... So the script it's calling is sitting here, and then one folder down under Scratch is the output file. The Balmer Peak! Yes, sir! Sometimes a guy has to exchange health for happiness in this day and age, man. Named after Steve Ballmer? Yes, sir. That Balmer Peak, the very one. I would have thought the Balmer Peak would have involved cocaine. I would have thought so too. But, alas, it's only booze. Alright, how do I do this with a pen? Open with... Okay. It did return the proper file. But Sammy retrieved the file too fast. So it's not pausing for the output. So this isn't useful. So we're gonna call that Bitbucket. Which means that we have to delay for at least 1 second for it to do the synthesis, conversion, and disposal. So now... La 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 la.
This is a pist symptoms.
Right, I forgot to disable it. Wow, 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 wow.
This is a pist symptoms.
Yep, there it is. So that's some important notes and some discovery. I think, okay, admittedly, I think that a lot of the headache I'm having with not being able to call Linux executables from within the Wine environment is something wrong with my setup. Because you saw it here, I saw it here. If I call it from Steam, it's using the Proton environment. And it doesn't run this script properly. But I don't get any feedback, so I don't know where the problem is happening. But if I call it from Wine, like manually, this script starts to work. So that's an important note, and I am going to add... Do I have a note section? Notification message? No. How about write text? I'm gonna put it at the top. Off. Leave off. Description block. Did I double space? Yes, I did. Must be run under a Wine environment, not a Proton environment. There. So, we have made the workflow for a TTS. Now the big part comes in. I've just been typing it by hand in here. But I now need to figure out how do I grab a message from a redeem? So now we're going to do the most terrifying thing of all. Reference the programming manual. Message text. Reply to chat message. New message to send to your channel. Channel drop down. Okay, so those aren't it. What else? What else? What else could do that? Okay, what else can do it? 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 Is there redeem? Which trigger types channel point? User input. User input. If the redemption requires viewers to enter text when redeemed, use star to accept all user messages. Can include wildcards. So that's under a trigger. Okay. User message, redeem name, image, reward ID, redeem ID, display name, message, full data value message. Hey, so does that mean that I get to store it in a variable? So now this is the other thing I need to wrap my head around with Sammy. If I make a variable, can I make it viewable across all buttons or a button? Let me think. Actually, now that we know this works, I should clean this stuff up. Clean that up. Clean that up. I might not even need this. So let's view the trigger. So we're going to go edit trigger, and this trigger goes off during a redeem. Channel point redemption. So I need to make the redemption right now. User input required. Okay, let's pull up that portal. Where is it? Settings. Prime Gaming, channel and videos. Did we accidentally hit an hour of ads and I didn't know? Sorry, did we accidentally hit an hour? Are we in an ad break and I didn't notice? I'm sorry. I realized that's something else I need to look at. I need to look at why I'm not getting notified beforehand that ads are coming. Because it's been probably like 2 or 3 times now where I wouldn't say that a person was irritated, but they did bring up a little jokingly that they went through way too many ads. Because I have it set to once a, yeah, I have it set to once an hour. Yep, Twitch is horrible with ads. Yeah, and here's what irks me, is they had they advertised to me a feature where it sends me a message in the moderator's console, where actually let me pull it up here, mod.twitch.tv. So I got 2 views here. There's a moderator's view and then there's a streamer's view, and they have different information in them, and they have some different controls in them. But they advertise this function where it sends me the message on my dashboard or the moderator's panel, and it's not doing it, even though I have it on and set to notify me. So that was the other thing I needed to look at as well, is Sammy. Somebody made a Sammy button here. That's at the, actually it's another deck. I should review that a little later. Where it will routinely check if an ad break is coming up, and then it puts in chat to everybody, hey, ads are coming. And I need to configure that, but the problem is I can't do that unless ads are coming. Like, I don't know if it works unless ads are going to come in. So that's one where I have to do it in prod, which is a pain in the ass. A tremendous pain in my ass. Like everything this past few weeks. Oh yeah. So I have a story about more hardware woes. This time it's my own stupidity. Now, maybe I'm oversharing about myself, but a good way to describe me is I have a very bad case of King Solomon complex. And by that I mean I'm known for giving, like, decent advice, but I make the worst fucking decisions. I'll tell you what you need to do to get out of a problem. I can't get myself out of a problem. And when I said that I rebuilt and I had to buy an AM5 processor and I had to buy DDR5 and a new board because I broke the old board, the advice I give people is that if you have to spec a computer that reaches the max configurable specification of a certain computer class, you should instead buy an entry level of the class above, or else you're going to hit the roof too early and you're going to have to upgrade prematurely. Guess who didn't follow that advice? This guy. And I hit the roof within a week, because then I said, I need me a RAID array, because Right now, everything is hinging on a single NVMe drive and a USB RAID array. And that's dangerous. Sorry, I'm distracting myself with story time. I'm sorry. Viewer rewards, channel points, match power-ups. Right, so I need to make a new one called... okay, who here knows Scottish Gaelic? It is related. It is related to the Redeem. Okay, never mind. So, how I hit the roof of this computer already, as I said, I need to get myself a RAID array in here because it's only one drive, it's 2 terabyte. I can routinely do backups, but the downtime is gonna bite me in the ass. So I bought an NVMe RAID controller. And I hit 2 problems. One, the NVMe RAID controller I bought has terrible software and drivers, which is another story. The other one is, despite this motherboard having 4 PCIe x 16 sockets, it's not actually wired for x 16 across all of them. Only one socket is x 16. The others are 1, 1, and 8. So I couldn't even use it if I wanted. I already hit the roof. So what I should have done is limped for like another quarter and got a Threadripper instead, an entry-level Threadripper. Because, one, it has a built-in RAID controller, NVMe RAID controller like built into the board, and 2, all of the x 16 lanes are actually x 16. So yeah, I didn't follow my own advice. Okay, enter amount. We're gonna do that. Okay, let's see. What do we need here? Skip reward, cooldowns, and limits. How do I make it... Require user to enter text. There we go. And we're gonna make it a nice... There we go. That's something I'm gonna have to look up later, is need to find someone who knows Scottish Gaelic. Because it is related to the speech synth. The name is not compliant with our content guidelines. Does this have a negative connotation I don't understand? Maybe I'm an absolute dolt, but I thought the brass head was not a mythological. It was like a thing in fantasy. It was like a mechanical device that's shaped like a head made out of brass that answered wizards' questions. Is that not what a brass head is, or is there another term that I don't understand? Yeah, a brazen head brass responds to military automation of the Middle Ages to the early modern period, whose ownership was ascribed to late medieval scholars, such as Roger Bacon, who had developed a reputation as wizards. Yeah, so it's... Yeah, so it's like medieval medieval fantasy about... Yeah, what the hell's going on? Oh well. Okay, so I guess we're not using that then. I'm gonna figure that one out. I'm gonna figure that one out later. We're gonna call it just test speech synth for now. Load from Twitch API. Test speech synth. Save. Right, so now, how do I carry the data over from the trigger to the actions? That's the next question. What do we do? What do? Viewers redeem message if required. Your scope is set to channel points, which it would. Semi voice integrations. Actually, let me back out of there. Did I save the trigger? Yes, I did. Group ID, button ID, ID 18. So this is part of ID 18. So I'm going to take a guess that the variable called message is in the scope of ID 18. That's what I'm going to guess. Now, how do I call that? Button crashes, non-button crashes. String format, save variable as. Okay, how do I retrieve a variable? All global variables are stored inside global. Button variables, local variables, init variables. You can also initialize complex variables. Okay, so there is a... no, that's not a language. What is this? What format is this in? Shows just how out of touch I am with programming, isn't it? Strings must be enclosed in blank. Variable numbers are okay. Real number. Okay, so these are the types. String text, Boolean, array, white versus yellow box for parameters. Okay. Ah, here we are. It is extremely important to know the difference as you need to format your input according to the color of the box. Inserting an array value. Okay, don't need that. Math operations, using a combination of strings and variables. You can insert a variable into text by wrapping it in $/$ and then $/. Okay. So that means it would be... Yeah, okay, I get you. It's almost like a Windows... Well, not almost. It's done in the same format as a Windows environment variable. Creates a new local variable or modifies an existing one. Okay. So you have to do that in a block, in a little code block. Set a string variable, set button variable, set a Boolean, set a global. Okay, so I didn't have that option within the trigger, which means that it must be holding it somewhere. So I'm going to take a guess that... Okay, let's try this. String. I'm gonna make a string. String count, clamp, remove. Number to string, URL and code string. Or is it variable? Do I have to define a variable? Set local variable. We'll put that at the top. Equals. Redeem message equals. So if it's in yellow, they said you can directly type another variable. Message. But if it's a white text box, I need to go... Okay, we're gonna copy this. Wait, which one's the duplicate? Ah, here we are. We're gonna turn that one off, and we're gonna make this one slash dollar redeem message. Now let's see what happens if I redeem my own test speech synth.
Undefined.
Excuse me? Undefined. But it did say something. But what it said was undefined. So the trigger is working, but I'm not getting the information passed through. So why? Open variable window. Bitbucket's got nothing. That should be blank. That one's okay. So now this is something I'm not catching. Let's go to the triggers again. Which channel point redemption? Let's double check that one again. I must have missed something. Creates a channel point reward on Twitch that will be owned by Sammy. Only rewards owned by Sammy can be further modified from within Sammy. This is an asynchronous command. Okay. Nope. Redemption. Updates the status. Okay, now go back to a trigger for Twitch. Make sure the scope to listen to channel points has been enabled in Sammy. Okay. Redemption name, username, user input required, user input. Okay. User input, if the redemption requires viewers to enter the text. Use star to accept all user messages. Can include wildcards. Right. Pull data value message. So now this part isn't quite clear. What is it? Like, where is it putting it? So this is just how to set it off. But how do I forward the message off? Pull data value. Maybe I have to explicitly ask for it from within here. And maybe I just don't understand where it is. Message. Twitch. Send, delete, reply. Pop-up. Notification. Okay, so that's not it. Pull. Trigger pull data. Is that what it is? Trigger pull data. Used in combination with any triggers you set up for the button. For example, if you set up a button with a Twitch subs trigger, you can use this command to get the name once the button is triggered. Pull value. Ah! So it's not pushed, you have to pull it. Message. Which means that this is not relevant. Speak message. Let's do it again.
Oh, you got the saddest sentence.
Well, shit, that went faster than I thought it would. We're 45... Oh, no, we're not 45 minutes in. We're an hour and a half in. Alright. So let's clean this up. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. New objective. Yes. That's where we are. So. It now works. So now what do we do? Did I maybe make it too high? Let's see. Must be run under one environment, not a Proton environment.
That's fine.
See, now that I'm getting the swing of things in this, and it's kind of... The paradigm, it makes a little more sense. Also, maybe because this cocktail is dangerously strong. So, I'm not gonna name names because I don't think the guy streams and I don't want to reveal, like, you know, overshare. But he taught me this dangerously tasty cocktail called a paper plane. And the paper plane is a it's a 1-to-1 cocktail. And it's 1 shot of whiskey, 1 shot of a herb liqueur, 1 shot of some other herb liqueur, and 1 shot of lemon juice. So it's basically 3 shots of booze in a cocktail. And then you shake it over ice. Sorry, you shake it with ice. And it's delicious, and it tastes like juice. And it is dangerous, so I have to be careful. Because I'll tell you, it is not... I don't think it's enjoyable for anybody to see a stumbling down drunk. I subscribe to my grandpa's idea of that. Wow. Twitch is getting a little bit is getting ahead of the scammers. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna ban that man for trying to advertise bots. Maybe I don't want bots. Maybe I like the viewer count being a little bit low because it makes it cozy. Maybe that's what I want. Did the bots think of what I want in life? I bet they didn't. Alright, so we've got that sorted. We have a speech synth now. Now, let's figure out the price. Let's figure out the price of it. I've got a hunch. Is 8 killa units, sorry, is 8 kibi units too high? I think it is. I think it is. I think I know what to do. I'm gonna make a quick adjustment. There. We'll make it 2 kibi units. Yes, 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 yes. Well, it's no longer a test speech synth anymore. All right, my party trick. It is indeed a test sentence. Dunk it in coffee. I love that sometimes I just completely forget. Alright. So that is the new values. There we go. So it's high enough. I think the speech synth is high enough that it's hard to abuse it. And it's also low enough that it's like attainable for people to use. Let's see. Okay. I gotta see now. Where did I put it? I have it around here somewhere. Is it another one of these? I don't want to accidentally show a folder that's sensitive. Source. Nope, not source. OBS. I gotta clean up this file system one day. I say that, but that means I'm never gonna do it. Yep, this is the one. Watch as I get myself in trouble with Twitch moderation. This should not work. Yes. This exceeds the character limit. But we're gonna truncate that to the nearest sentence and it broke. I broke it. Why did it break? Did it actually cough it out? No, it didn't. What it did is it made a blank... I think it made a blank file. No, it didn't make a blank file. It just didn't do it. So, why did that happen? Well, now it's not working at all. Did I break something? How did it work a moment ago and not now? Irene, I know what I did. I know exactly what I did. I renamed the redeem, and so it broke it in Sammy. Alright, so let's see if it can handle this. This might exceed the pause that I put in. I only put in 1 second for it to do the synthesis, do the changes, and do a cleanup. And make the output file. Nope, still didn't do it. Alright, so a long one didn't cut it, but it should have pulled this file from before.
Undefined.
Okay. So it made one that was undefined. Let's go shorter.
No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences, treaters and hunts, and it has controlled his own.
Okay, so we can break it from it being too long. Now, is that because the file's not ready, or is that because the synth is breaking? Or that the script is breaking? Because before, okay, so before it wasn't working because the name of the redeem was changed.
No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences, treaters and hunts, and it has controlled his own. That has been believed till since about the various transients the were scrutinized and studied, perhaps almost as thoroughly as the one with the utterance talk by scrutinize the transient creatures that swap and multiply in a drop of water.
Alright. So we are... Okay, so I know what happened there. We went... It took too long to process, so I gave it a 2-second timeout instead, and it worked out just fine. That is more or less the character limit. So I don't think I'll need to make a longer delay, but since I have to wait for 2 seconds, is there something I can do to give feedback that the command was sent instead of letting it sit for 2 seconds? I have an idea. I have a very bad idea. a very long time ago, I did something really stupid out of boredom on my own time, and it should be in my command history somewhere. A very long time ago. Ah, here we are. Yes, I know what we're gonna do. Now, fortunately, I don't think this is gonna play for you guys, but I have to be careful of my own hearing on this. So I am setting this to play. I'm gonna have to maybe set this to record. Audacity. Alright, gentlemen, we're about to do the dumb. Let's talk about Hollywood and computer noises. The weird bibbly sound you hear from like old Hollywood-esque the computery noises you hear from like old Hollywood films are based off of an actual thing computers do, but it's not what you hear in those isn't really what they do. So an old form of feedback and progress indication to a computer operator was the sound a computer made. And what they would do is they would take usually an address line, or they would take like a whole data bus of maybe like 8 or 16 lines and put it through a DAC. And what that would do is it would give an acoustic feedback to the work that was being done. The reason that was a thing was that computers of that era didn't have like the necessary like memory or computing power to give detailed feedback to the operator on what's happening. But you could get an idea as to the work that's being done by what you heard. But unless you were very involved in that computer, you didn't know what it meant. And so to some, it just seemed like weird bibbles. So, what that means is I can take a... I'm gonna close that for now. I forgot that was open. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a random piece of data and just scrub along for something that sounds neat. That is actually data that you would probably catch in some way on an old computer and then kind of stuff it into the front like they would in Hollywood. Which means I gotta fire this up, and I'm probably, let's see here. This is cool. This is a program called Carla. And what's neat about Carla is there's an audio patch bay, and there's a lot of crap in here. A lot of this is just going to my headset. But there's some that goes into OBS, like this, and all these OBS monitors, so I'm hearing all of the things that you hear, with some exceptions. What I don't like, however, is it scrunches everything into the corner. Oh, A. No, I want to highlight everything and move it all up here. Maybe a little bit down. In the middle, yeah. Gonna zoom that in. Get things a little cleaned up before we start poking around at the patch bay. Nope, 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 not that. We're gonna move that. We're gonna move that. And that. I have MIDI on here. Didn't know I needed MIDI for anything. Actually, to be honest, the only time I've seen MIDI in use these days is if somebody is composing music or if they're abusing MIDI to do some type of, like, multimedia control that isn't related to music synthesis or music composition. Neat, though. I don't know if that's... Oh, maybe it's just I don't know enough about MIDI. But it seems like a delightful kludge. I like it. I'm gonna organize this up a bit. Okay. Gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. That. What else is really messy in here that we gotta straighten out before I can start poking at stuff? Don't need... BLE MIDI. Is that... That maybe Bluetooth? Don't tell me they have Bluetooth MIDI devices. That'd be crazy. That seems like something crazy people would have. That's brilliant. Brilliantly crazy people stuff. All right. So, let's have a look here. One of the programs in here should be... That's Lorian, that's the whiteboard program. There's VTube Studio, listening to my microphone. Don't need that. Yes. Steel series. HDMI. OBS. Oh, look at this. I'm able to directly capture programs now? When was I able to do this? I wasn't able to do this before. Maybe it's been that long since I've used it, I suppose. Maybe something's updated. You can see that I'm clueless in almost everything I do. Like, this is... I am stumbling and bumbling my way through life. This is my normal working process. The only difference is I'm documenting it to my own detriment. But it is fun. To me, anyway. I don't know how fun it is to everyone else. So if we got 2 seconds, we need to do this. Where's that terminal? So right now, I got play. Do I want play, or do I want... Actually, let's try this. I'm gonna turn my headset down. No, this is not what I want. I want... There's another one. And this other one gives me a window. And that part's important, because I think that's what... It also makes it a little bit easier to scrub forward and back. Because here's the thing. I am... Maybe it's not clear what I'm doing here, but what I'm doing is... I'm, in essence, lying to an audio player and telling it that a boot disk, like a boot/install disk, is... a PCM audio file. which is like PCM's I wouldn't call it the precursor to Wave, but it is in effect a WAV file, except a WAV file has a header that describes what the encoded audio information is. Here we are, FF play. Okay. Okay. You know what? To get you guys in on the bit, I'm gonna add another audio capture here. Actually, I have another audio capture here. General Capture 1 properties. We're gonna point that at where is FF play? Okay. But I'm gonna put FF play really low. Really low so you don't blow your eardrums out. General Pipewire Capture 1. Okay. Let's look for a good sample. Not that. No. Actually, the start was pretty good. We're gonna capture the start here. Audio setup, recording. Where is FF play? That should be in here. Playback device. Recording channels. B, C. Okay, so these are right. The cat clock can capture audio. That's how it swings the tail. Let's see. Do I have it in here? But it's also a playback device. Do I have my own sync, maybe? Rescan audio devices. Ah, there it is. So it doesn't do it on the fly when I drop that down. Okay, so it's right here. So we need a 2-second clip of something really interesting in here, in this mess. That seemed pretty interesting. Okay. We actually got quite a few samples in there. So let's see what we got. Is that enough to cobble something together interesting for 2 seconds? The question is, do we want it to be subtle or do we want it to be intense? I like that. Labeled dropouts. Yeah, I put the dropout there. Dropouts 1, that's not bad. Okay, we're gonna make a new channel. New mono track. Paste. Does that get us 2 seconds? I think it does. A little over 2 seconds. It might sound a bit better like this. Sorry you guys can't hear it, but it is not very pleasant right now. This might not be very amusing for some, but it needs to be done. If I slow this down, pitch and speed, that just sounds worse. Actually, you know what? I don't think I like that clip very much. You know what? Why don't I just capture that one too? Why not? Why not get you guys in on it? Let's see, what other weird samples did we get? Not that. Oh, that's too loud. That was too loud. Thank God that was muted. Well, that didn't pick up at all. Why is it not picking that up on General Pipewire 2? Is there another Audacity? Another Audacity window it's looking at, maybe? Ah, it doesn't look to be. Oh, well, that's alright. I like that sample. Like that sample. Ooh, that one's... That one's good. Don't worry, you guys will hear it soon. All right. Now, the downside to doing this is you're going to get a lot of hissing. You tend to only get those interesting tones when it's structured data, like a database or like a file system. But like an actual file that's for human use is generally not... doesn't give those interesting tones at all. This is raw audio conversion from some random binary format. It is, yeah. It's, I used to do that with the game. I used to do that with game exes. Yep, and we're doing that to, fill in for this 2-hour pause we have to do. So because it takes 2 seconds between calling the command and getting an output, I'm gonna put something in front to show it's working. And I thought something like this should do. So the problem is if I do the text, that's not 2 seconds worth. You know, I say that, no, I'm not scripting any, I'm not calling any more external executables. I'm not doing that. But yes, I am scraping through this for noises of interest. And then I'm going to cobble them together to fill in the 2-second gap we have to pause. There's something there, but I don't know if it's that... Might be too noisy to use. Why not? That's audio engineering in a nutshell, capturing and reusing interesting sounds. That was my thoughts exactly. Actually, I don't know if you saw my my slideshow presentation, but I didn't. Oh, sorry. I guess the ads went off again. Sorry. But what I was getting at is... Actually, I forget what I was getting at. I'm subbed, I can still hear you. Okay, that's good. Right. And thank you for that, by the way. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it a lot. There's not really a lot of benefit you get out of it, unfortunately. I'm also using an ad blocker so I can hear you even when I'm not subbed. I won't tell nobody. But I forget where I was going with that conversation. Let's say with that topic. But I'm not scraping through the entire ISO. Slideshow. Right. Yes, thank you. So, like, I was using... I did a slideshow presentation when I got affiliate, because I didn't mean to. I filled out some papers they kept nagging me for, and then they're like, congratulations, you're an affiliate. Here's all your functions. Here's your ads. Good luck, ass. Not ass. They're like, good luck. Have fun. And so I was like, well, fuck, I need to do something. So I did a slideshow presentation, but I don't have a slide projector. So I just recorded myself ejecting a floppy disk and putting one in. And just cobbling it together. That's enough to give the illusion of a slideshow. I actually had another, one of my peers. They're like, how did you do that? Did you use Sammy? It's like, no, I used PowerPoint. It was all done in PowerPoint. That one's not so good. Let's find another. That seems very grating, but I just want that one for another year. That goes for a long time. That goes for way too long. Oh shit, when did I get 101 followers? I should do something about that. Dang. I am not paying attention. People do celebrations for that, right? Is that wrong? Is it rude that I don't? Is it rude that I didn't? I was just looking at the stream statistics on the top. Looking at the stream statistics on the top of my streamer page. And right beside the bitrate, it showed the follow count, and it showed 101. I'm like, when did that happen? When did I do that? Oh my god, I feel like an asshole. Like, I don't know. I do like streaming, but I think a lot of the like metrics and the metric chasing, it just isn't something that interests me too much. I have always said I should do milestone streams, but I never do. Maybe I should. And that's the thing, is are people interested in that? I don't know. What kind of group, what kind of demographic do you foster when you do that? I don't know. Sorry, I'm munching on snacks now. I've had my booze and now it's time for snacks. People are interested in any special streams you want to give them. Doesn't have to be a commemoration or anything. Trying people something new is always a good strat on Twitch. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Maybe that's something I need to focus on this month. Find some way to do a celebration. I have to be careful because I almost, if I say certain things, it's gonna sound like I have a mental disorder when I say I can sometimes hear voices. Are we recording screams from another dimension? Okay, well now I don't feel as bad for thinking I was hearing screams. How you doing, Puppers Dog? You doing good? I hope so. No, what we're doing is, my computer's not fit to stream right now. Sorry, it's not fit to play games right now. So I thought this is a perfect opportunity to do some stream development. And I have a text-to-speech generator now. But one of the follies is it takes up to 2 seconds to process, so I have to pause for 2 seconds. So how do I notify people that the command is actively being processed? And that is to get a 2-second sound clip that sounds like processing. That's how I think to do it anyway. So, knowing a little bit about early era computers, the Hollywood computer sound of beeps and boops was whoever was operating the computer, either by the manufacturer or by the person operating it, would stick a speaker or a DAC onto some data lines of the computer, and that's what made the sound, because that would give you an audio cue that the computer was doing certain types of work. So a cheap and dirty way of reproducing that now is to feed things that aren't sound into an audio player by lying through your teeth about it. And right now, we're scrubbing through a boot disk for interesting sounds, and if I get a good handful, then we're going to cobble them together into a 2-second sound clip that then plays before the audio, before the speech synth kicks on. So speaking of which, we should kick this on. Oh, this goes on for a while, Jesus. But now I don't feel so crazy. Actually, I have a funny story. I was, when Puppers, you mentioned you hear screams in there. Psychologists warn that if you hear voices in noise, it's like it's a symptom or an early warning sign of schizophrenia. And I'm not saying you have it, because you probably don't. But it's a segue into a story. I had a 3D printer at one point that was like a very early model. And so there was a lot of development that and features that didn't exist yet. And one of them was a concept called step smoothing. So what step smoothing does is it serves to reduce the amount of noise a motor gives, because when you take a step, it makes an audible click when you engage certain magnetic coils and disengage different ones to make the shaft in the center turn. So there are tricks you can do to reduce that noise, because if you do steps at a certain rate, those clicks turn into a tone. What about those people who listen to radio static in haunted houses and think they hear ghosts talking in it? Right? And that's kind of the thing, is that one is more conscious, right? And that's the thing, maybe they are schizophrenic. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. That was a joke that didn't land. As I said it, I knew it didn't land. So overreactive pattern recognition. Yes, and so what this meant for the stepper motors is you start getting a tone instead of clicks when the motor steps, when it moves at a certain rate. And so with a 3D printer, it's doing things like parabolas, or it's doing swoops. And so what was happening late at night is when I let the printer run, I sometimes thought I heard a voice, because there are certain patterns that sound like human phonemes, and it's very audible because the motors were very loud because there was no step smoothing, and it would always sound like wah, oyer, or hour. And I hear those and I jump up and be like, who's in the house? And I was telling this story about this printer, and somebody was... Yeah, our print, not your print. I was telling this story, and somebody who was a psychologist heard it and was like, I think you need to go to just get an assessment. I'm like, no, it actually sounds like phonemes. It's to such a point where you can make, I think somebody made a speech synthesizer out of a stepper motor, because it's just a matter of what steps you give to make the tone. Because different frequency of steps gives you a different rate of clicks, which gives you a different tone. So if you just do enough of them in series in a certain way, you can get a phoneme, a human phoneme, to come out of it. Alright, so let's sweep a little bit more, and we'll probably have enough to cobble something together for a 2-second clip. I bit my lip. I didn't like that one. I like that one. Okay, that one seemed pretty good, I must say. But we likely have enough now to do this. You know what? I think I might save this project, because I might be able to use these for other things. Oh, you know what we might be able to do? That was supposed to be up here. That doesn't work out so well. That didn't do what I thought it would. Effect. A sliding stretch. Change pitch. Change speed and pitch seems new. But yes, that one's odd. I don't recall having that function before. Where did it go? Where did the clip go? I changed it and then it just... Effect. Change pitch. Did it get moved to the end? Did it get shuffled to the beginning? Like, what happened to it? It just vanished. What the hell? Okay. We're gonna cut the dropouts here. Clean this up. We're gonna make a new mono track. We're gonna copy this, paste it, effect, change speed. So here's what's annoying, is in the sample, it's fine. But then just poof. It's just completely gone. Because what changing speed does is it just seems to repeat the last sample to stretch it out. General optimized for voice, but I can't seem to... Work? No. So, why does the clip vanish? Why did the clip vanish when I changed its speed? Because that speed, when I got it at that speed, it was really nice. I liked it. I'm sorry you guys can't hear it, but I can't seem to capture Audacity. I have got so many plugins in here that I don't really need. I wonder how many are dependencies of others. Some of these are also just like the same plugin but slightly different. HI. Okay, where's SP? Simple delay line, simple high pass, simple low pass, sine oscillator, spectral, spectrum, no speed. Add real-time effects, repeat change pitch, change tempo? Nah, it didn't work. That didn't work either. Use high quality stretching. Presets and settings. This is a built-in one. Changes the pitch of a track without changing its tempo. So maybe this is something I don't understand about audio engineering. Yeah, it just destroyed the sample. It just makes it disappear. Well, that's bullshit. I guess we're just gonna have to... We're just gonna have to deal with it as is. Classic filters? I say as I keep going through here, hoping that there's one that does what I need. That's a new feature I didn't know about. Repair, repeat, reverb, reverse, sliding, stretch. Or maybe that's a bug report I have to make. That might be a thing I have to do. Wasn't prepared to do a bug report today. Or at all, really. But we'll just take this as is. How about this? Gonna have to put this back to 100. I'm considering that there might be something else under general, but it's being cut off. But I also find that... just think that's so weird that I can't do a speed change anymore because it just destroys the clip. I have an idea. Okay, so there's a little bit more to this that I'm not doing today, which is that you might see in other streams a TTS bot will pop up and then speak and go away. And I have an idea, and I think I've got photographs of some of my old junk phone equipment in combination with some other just random shit I can grab and photo bash a TTS bot. You know, and so the idea is I think I've got a photograph of an old Bell speakerphone and an old rotary phone, which means it would be a good design. Not a good design, a good what am I thinking here? A good touch put some put like DTMF in. How about Jesus. That just blew my eardrums out. You know what? I'm glad that I can't capture this for you. My God. Zero, 1. 1 second. About I need a half second, actually. Effect, generate, DTMF. I'm gonna put that to half a second. Now... Okay, now I'm gonna do something that I probably don't need to do. I'm gonna do it anyway. Which is, I'm gonna try and make the waveforms match, so it's less jarring. Or try and make them line up, at least. Actually, no, these aren't... Oh, do I have to explicitly merge them now? Oh. That is... Do I get to move a sample point? That would be a very nice feature. This is a sample point, right? Yeah. For each jump. That's got to be a sample point. It'd be nice if I could just manually adjust a sample point. That's probably not the term. I'm pretty sure that's not the term. I am just a guy. I'm just a dude. I'm just a guy, man. These do shit. I don't know, man. I just do stupid shit on the internet. I do my best. Come on, let me zoom in there. Thank you. Actually, that one's pretty decent. Join clips. What? Where the hell did it go? What the hell was that? Is this just a thing in Audacity now that happens? I joined the clips and the clips just disappear. Let's see if it puts something stupid in the logs. Nope. Sometimes if there's a crash, it gets put into the kernel log. Alright, guess I'm not joining these together. I guess it's... Oh, I have an idea. I have a brilliantly stupid idea. Generate. Silence. Generate. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to effect DC offset. Do I have DC offset? Or do I have offset? Offset. Ah, DC offset. Add offset. Effect. DC offset. We're gonna add that much. And then effect. DC offset. Effect. DC offset. Little too long on the delay. Little too long on these. Oh. Why am I having such a hard time with this interface? Probably the sample up here being so enormous. And you know what? It's also very loud. That's probably why. Effect. We're gonna lower the amplification. Amplify. Alright, so we're gonna take this. Effect. Can we null? Can we null? Is that an option? LM N no. Oh, God. Be nice if I could just pan. That would be nice. I'd like to be able to just pan. No, now it just sounds like a square wave. Let's start over. That doesn't work. So what I'm doing with DC offset is that if you've ever heard like a pop when somebody picks up the phone, what that is your speaker is slightly popping out a little bit now that there's power. And so you can simulate that with DC offset. Effect. And since I was talking about wanting to use a phone or like tie in a phone to this in some way, because LPC, okay, so to walk this back a little bit, the way I'm getting the weird voice synth effect is I'm doing LPC 10 conversion of the audio sample, and LPC 10 was designed for use on telephones. It was like you'll sometimes hear it as FIPS 137. And that was an old like military and government digital voice algorithm. And so it was used for if you only had like a digital uplink that was really bad or like really slow, but you still needed to do like some type of communication back. Let's see, generate silence. Effect, DC offset, we're going to add a little bit, and a little bit of noise. Effect, DC offset. I'll add a little more. Effect. We'll do some DC offset. And we'll pull it down. So that should simulate going off hook with like a relay or something, hopefully. Might be a little bit grating and unpleasant, but we'll see. Yeah. Fuck it. The things I wanted to do aren't working on here, so we'll just ship it. Just fucking sender, bud. Yes, fucking sender. File. Export. Current selection. VTT. Pre-TTS. We're gonna put this in. We're gonna put this in with Scratch. OBS. Yeah, we'll put this in with Scratch. We'll make it lowercase. See how it sounds. Alright, we're gonna save this. And we're gonna see what it... excuse me. We're gonna see what this sounds like now. So we have the speak message. Then start. Yeah, okay, we got this. And then we're supposed to wait 2 seconds, then play this sample. What I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna add play sound effect. We're gonna put it before the 2-second timer. We're gonna put it in the same place here. Put it a little lower. Now we're gonna see what happens here, because purple... So about the color coding on these. In case you haven't seen from earlier on in the stream today, how this works is that there's certain color code. It's like a block kind of language, like if you ever played with Scratch before, or there are some, or like with Lego Mindstorms or something like that. You have these predefined functions as blocks in a list, and some can take nested blocks, some can't. So if statements have two holes in them where you can place one of these blocks to do conditional branching of things. Actually, I can show that here while before I test. So one of them is this bell command, for example. So if you redeemed the bell, you have a chance of getting a bad bell. So if we just do this here. Oh, look at that, right out of the gate. So there's a 1 in 7 chance of when you redeem the bell, you get a broken bell. And how it works is, yeah, you have this block, but it's got these two little... It's got these two little holes in it where you can place other blocks. So it's a way to make structured language using the GUI for people who aren't like well versed in programming. So some of the other color codings in here are some text boxes are yellow, which defines like a certain type of structured data you need to put in, and then others are white, which is for putting in just like unstructured text. Now, if it's colored purple, that means it's asynchronous. So it will just do the thing, but the script will continue. So what I'm banking on is that if I go back and run my redeem now, it should pull the message, store it here, write it into this text file. This shell script will do the audio will do all the synthesis and special effects and store it into out.ogg. But this takes a few seconds to process. But this command here will not wait till it's done. It will just continue on. So originally, that's why I had the 2-second pause. But since this audio clip is around 2 seconds, this should play while this waits 2 seconds. Or this is going to play for 2 seconds, then wait 2 seconds, then play this. So we're going to try that right now. I probably should I should use a shorter sentence.
Over the fifth sentence.
Hey, it worked. Actually, that needs to be a bit louder.
Blah blah blah.
still a bit quiet.
Defined. Defined.
What do you... That seems fine to me. It's not as clean as I would like it, but I also don't want to spend forever doing it. Actually, we could go all the way.
Defined.
Cool. There we go. We now have a speech synth. We have a speech synth, and this is the important part now. I don't have to call an additional external program, which is the big deal. I did not want to do that. Because what I'm also trying to avoid when I do this like really basic primitive like setup and layout is I don't want to have to start like 12 different programs that all interconnect, because that just gives me more points of failure, and I know I'm not going to be maintaining it properly. But it is holding together. It works. It does the thing. It does the job. Well, we're actually at 3 hours here, and admittedly I was late to start. Let's check the system health here. We're actually starting to run out of memory again. Now, luckily our swap hasn't gotten too large. But you know what? Okay. During my affiliation incident report, I had said that I was going to assess alternate products to Sammy because I couldn't call external programs. And while I must say, having to wrap what I want in a shell script to run it from within Sammy is a pain in my ass, I think it's a good alternative. Or I think it's an acceptable workaround, which means now, so long as I take whatever I want to do and wrap it in a shell script, I should be fine. But admittedly, if I want to do anything related to the stream, I'm probably going to write a shell script for it anyway. Like, here's an example. So here's what's actually being called for those who are coming in a little bit later. There's really not a lot in here. If we take a look, I don't really need these anymore. That was me figuring out how to, like, what voice I wanted to give it. So here's all it is. It gets today's date. So the script is just pulling today's date, and it puts it in a variable called now. This here is a big fancy pants command to check where the script actually is sitting right now. Sorry, it's getting the folder the script is sitting in, which is important because everything else in this script is done relative to the script's location. If I didn't do this, then I would have to hard code the exact path the script is sitting in and all of its directories where it does its work. And then if I moved the script somewhere else, it would break. This is reading in a text file that is the text-to-speech input, and then it's putting it into an environment variable. And then that's just the prep work. Then it runs eSpeak with a bunch of arguments to get the voice and the candor I want. And so in this case, this was one of the reasons I wanted to do it this way. You're going to catch it here. In Great Britain, Scotland, eSpeak has a text-to-speech setting for Scottish. And that was why I was asking earlier, who here either knows Scottish Gaelic or knows somebody who knows Scottish Gaelic? Because I wanted to call this thing the Brass Head with a Scottish voice. So it would be whatever the Scottish version is of the medieval Brass Head. So yes, it's set to it's set to make this voice, and then this is the input from the text file, and then it spits it out into a scratch space that I called workdir with a WAV file of today's date. Then I'm abusing SOX to convert it from a WAV file into LPC10, which is that that audio encoding algorithm for like low bandwidth VoIP. And then I'm converting it to OGG, and then because it's a little too low, I'm using SOX again to boost the volume by 3.5 times. And this is what Sammy is reading out. And then I'm cleaning up. So this is all just deleting that. And then I'm also saving a copy to an archive folder. So if like a redeem broke down or I didn't capture the audio, I could then go back and play it back. Or if somebody was inappropriate, I have a copy and I can use it to, you know, lodge whatever complaint I need to. So yeah, there we go. We managed to pull off a script today. And that was only with one double cocktail. So you know what? I'm pretty pleased with that. And I'm not dealing with a memory leak. Well, I am dealing with a memory leak issue, but it did not rear its head since the start of stream. Got 13 gigabytes left. And I'm not using up the swap space. We are okay. All right. Let's see, what do... What? You know what? I think we should get it wrapped up here. I think we should do that. Okay. We'll get this cleaned up. Actually, we don't need this open anymore. I'm pretty pleased with this. I think the next time I do, like I poke around in here, I actually have to go in here, add manager announcer. This was made by somebody in the Sammy Discord server. I think the fella who made it has credited himself in here. If not, I apologize. I might have to... Actually, I might just go into Discord now and see. Actually, I shouldn't do that because this is recording my main screen, so that might... Don't want to start showing conversations in channels that people might not appreciate. But what this is doing is this is consistently... Let's see. Add a case statement inside a switch statement. 8 commands are disabled. Expand this out. Make changes to text source based on countdown time, optional. So what this is supposed to do is review, it should look at your Twitch channel. And what I haven't quite gone in here to see specifically what it's doing, but I think it's using an API to check how many minutes you have left before your stream gets an ad put on top. And then it will push a message into the main chat saying that that's happening. But I haven't had the opportunity to review it before using it, so the whole thing is deactivated right now. But that's another thing I want to tackle. And this one I have to do with stream on, so this will be at a later time one of these messing with stream stuff type of streams. There's no way I can test if this works unless I'm actively live, which means it could go wrong. So I might as well just do it when people are here and know that it's happening. Anyway, enough about that. I think it's time to wrap up. Let's see who's on right now. Oh, look at that. You know, this works out very well. Because, you know, earlier I was talking about Prodspod and how they had brought Green Circle to my attention and also, you know, vouched for me to be part of this whole little streaming group. So, and they're on right now. They're actually playing a game. So I think this is a great way to wrap up the night. Is switch on over to them. They normally don't play games. They primarily do software development. So this is a pretty interesting change of pace for them. So enough waffling from me. Let's switch on over and do a quick summary here. So, you know, despite things going pretty wrong today, and actually this past few days with this machine, I'm pretty pleased with what we managed to pull off. Through shit dumb luck, so to summarize, through shit dumb luck, a feature in Wine came in clutch, for lack of a better word. In Wine, you're supposed to be able to call a Linux executable. So a Windows program could call a Linux program, and Wine is set up in such a way that the Linux program will launch. That didn't work, but what did work was shell scripts could get launched. And a shell script, if it contained a Linux executable, it would launch it. So I had a script to take input, text input, make a speech, feed it into eSpeak to speak a sentence and save it to a WAV file. Then with SOX, we put some special effects on it, and then boosted the volume, and then converted it to a format that Sammy could read. So then Sammy has a function to call an external Windows executable. But because it's running under Wine, and Wine supports calling a Linux executable, but in this case could only call a shell script, we pointed Sammy to Wine's version of the command prompt, which then was set to call the shell script, which in turn made the OGG file. Then Sammy played the OGG file. Then we had some time left, and part of this script, the script takes about 2 seconds to run. So we dug through we fed some random data through an audio player and grabbed some pieces of interest, and we then pre-pended that to make a seamless, almost like instant notification, like instant feedback to the person who called the Redeem for a Speech synth. And it worked out pretty well. I'm not too terribly pleased with that preamble sample I put together, but it works. It does the job. And I just didn't have the patience or time to do it any better. So I'm quite pleased with how we went. So enough rambling here. I think what I want to do is switch on over to Prodspod and see what good mischief they're up to. I have that spelled right? I hope I do. You know what? I'm just gonna copy paste. Why would I risk typoing? Alright, well, thank you all for coming in for a very non-standard stream. I think it was a nice change of pace. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for people. I do feel a bit like a schmuck about the audio capture for Audacity. I don't know what was happening, but I seem to be unable to capture anything from it. So, let's go right on over. Though as always, I'm not going to tell you what to do, so I'm not going to tell you to stay out of trouble, but all I ask is that if you do get in trouble, you make sure it's the good kind of trouble. And you all stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.